Today I'm experimenting with DIY paint for the first time with 2 kitchen chairs that belong to me. I plan to paint them, add multicolor stripes, and then transfers to the paint to dress them up. And I normally keep a trail cover on each of them because of their plain dark faux leather material. Does anyone else refinish furniture right in their home? It really is a challenge, isn't it? This paint is a sample one from DIY in their test collection. It's not a regular color, but I do love the fresh springtime look of it. I am going over it with a light sanding using a 320 grit sanding sponge after each coat of paint, and I did a total of 2 coats of paint. Then I let them dry overnight. Okay, so a couple of challenges here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so normally I would put a clear coat over the edges of my tape, or put another coat of the base color, which would be the green. But I don't want to put a clear coat because I'm also going to put transfers on here, and I don't want to disturb the adhesion of the transfers, so I'm not going to use anything on it. So what's going to happen is when I pull up the tapes, it's going to pull a little bit of the paint off from underneath. But I'm just going to deal with it, because what I'll do is I'll remove the tapes for the stripes, I'll put on my transfers, I'll touch up whatever I need to, whatever paint pulls off, I'll just touch it up. And then afterwards, I'll coat everything with a clear coat. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting it near the seam because it tends to bleed a little bit. So I just want to remove the tape without actually cutting into my seams. But you can see when I pull the tape off, if you can catch that, see how it pulls the paint off a little bit? So I'm just going to deal with that. Sorry for the shaking. I'll deal with it afterwards. It's all right. It's going to end up being its own little picture once I get it all decorated with transfers and stripes. All right. So I have 3 different colors. The green underneath the base coat is DIY, and there's no name of the color. It was an experimental color that I got from DIY A Go-Go. So from their Kitchen Lab series. And then I have, I think it's Tea Rose from Dixie Belle. This is a Waverly, and it's moss. And this is also a Waverly. I love this color. It's cashew. So let's start with the pink. Whoops. I mean, if you're going to do stripes, it's good to get the sensitive adhesion yellow, or they might make it in another color, I'm not really sure. But this is the least likely to bleed and to pull off your paint. Though it's not foolproof because it does pull the paint off a bit. But you'll see it's no big deal, really. No big deal. Nope. We're just going to deal with it. And like I said, I'll touch up any spots that don't come out perfectly. So if I had smaller brushes, I could do it a little bit neater, but I just grabbed what I had close by. Pink. This is a nice brush. This is a zebra, and it's the square one. It's kind of a square rectangular shape. And it's super, super soft. And I actually like the size of it. I'm going to have to get a couple more of those. They're very, very handy. You can see how the paint actually comes off a little bit when I remove my tape. Even though I'm trying not to just rip it off like a Band-Aid, it's still removing my paint. And like I say, if I had been able to cover this with a clear coat before I put the tapes down, that wouldn't happen. So, but I made the choice because I actually want to use transfers and I want my transfers to adhere. I would rather touch up the paint than deal with a transfer that was peeling. So, yeah, sometimes you have to just deal with it deal with your best options, you know. So the good thing about the DIY paint is you know, you can wash it off for a long time. So if I got a little paint on the legs of these chairs, I just wash it right off. It comes right off with just a little bit of water. Okay, so you can see that we need to do a lot of touching up here because the tape pulled a lot of that color off. But, so we are going to decorate with some transfers. These are the small transfers from Redesign with Prima. And one of them is the watercolor Lush, and the other one is Botanical Paradise. And the Botanical Paradise, I'm going to start here in the back. And so I'm just going to plant them as if they were growing on the back of the chair from the bottom. And then I'm going to build it from there. That's what I know I'm going to start with right now. So let's do that. Now I'm going to have to get the chair in a position of comfort for me. So I think you can see that. I'm just going to tuck one of the legs near my lap so I can see what I'm doing. And this paint has no clear coat on it, and I mean that's what I'm used to, is working with a paint that a chalk paint that needs just a raw finish in order to have the transfers adhere. So I'm hoping that DIY paint is the same. I mean, it's a clay-based paint rather. So I'm not 100% sure if clay-based paints also want a raw paint to adhere to, but we're going to find out together. Wow. Wow, that actually was pretty fast. And it adheres really well. So that's a good start. And all I did was separate the flowers as far as the height of each, and I have a little pile of short flowers as well. So now we're going to start at the top and let's see. I think I'm going to go for that. Okay, so my paint is dry and all my divots are touched up, and I waxed one chair and now I'm going to wax the second chair. So I'm opening a new Howard Citrus Shield wax, and just by the way, I did use an acrylic satin clear coat over all of the transfers yesterday. So, but today I'm going to cover everything with this wax. So, I do notice that the spots that I touched up yesterday come through with a coat of wax, which is kind of interesting. But these are my chairs. So, you know, I'm not testing new products on I could test it on something that I would sell, but I wouldn't test it on a client's piece because I don't want any surprises, you know, with something that I haven't used before. So I get a little divot of paint there. Oops. But you can see that the wax does bring out the color of the paint, and note that this jar of paint was test kitted, so it could be that it's not a regular form, you know, formulary of their regular DIY paint. So, you know, I'm not aware of why it wasn't chosen to be either the color or the run of paint itself may not have been up to par for regular DIY paint. I do love the color. Yep, it's all good.